cleaned up my garage a little bit so I can get my 95 GSX in here and change my valve springs. I pushed the 98 Talon over just a little bit to make room. Haven't worked on this one in a while. Alright, the car's in the garage, door's closed, and I will probably work on it next week sometime. It's about dinner time. So I'm going to begin tearing this thing apart. I already got the bolts for the coil arm plug removed. I was hoping to use this tool here. This will compress the timing belt tensioner, but since I have a 6-bolt in my 2G, this does not line up with the timing belt or the tensioner arm. It lines up somewhere else, so that sucks. I'm gonna have to do more work now. Here's a coil arm plug coming off, unplugged. Valve cover bolts are broke loose. To speed things up, I used a little mini snap-on gun. This is what it looks like in here. Got the Kiggly Racing HLA, and then the Evo rocker arms and with the Evo springs. The camshafts are the FP 272s. I went ahead and jacked up the car. I removed the front left wheel and ordered 2 axes, the timing belt cover. Right now I'm just working on getting the accessory belts off. The water pump pulley and the other pulley that goes with it is removed. Come down here. The crank pulley or harmonic balancer is also out. Now I'm down to removing the timing belt tensioner, or timing belt cover. I can now see the timing belt tensioner right there and the tensioner pulley. So now I can loosen up the tension and remove it. Put it to top that center first. Okay, there's the tensioner pulley loose. Timing belt tensioner off. And the timing belt. So now I can pull these camshafts off without anything in my way or holding me back. I got all the cam caps all loosened up and ready to be removed. Here goes the exhaust one. And the intake camshaft and cam gear. Alright. Now I'm going to put these in a container soaking in oil. Now we got access to the valves. I should probably get the HLAs out of there. So this is the tool I'm going to be using to remove the valve springs. It's made by Eurosport. Never used one of these before. And I have the cylinder leakage tester. But if I disconnect here, I can pressurize the cylinder with shop air. This is the first time I change valve springs with the head attached to the car and in the car. So right now I got that spark plug out of there, and I'm gonna stick this in here. Oh yeah, this one right here was kind of a pain in the ass because it's such a tight tolerance there. And the engine is at top dead center, so this cylinder's down, this piston's down, and this piston is down. So that's why I'm doing the center ones right now. Alright, the tool's in place. I'm gonna stick this in here. It's all loose right now, so it slides back and forth until you line it up. And then I line it up right there. And then this is gonna get loud probably with the air compressor. Pressurize the cylinder. Overkill, but it works. The keepers let go easily because I actually took an extension with a socket and banged on it, gave it a tap. There's the keepers. Take this guy. And I wish I could slide this out of here. I mean, I can, but it's tight. I can also do this valve here, but I'm just doing them one at a time. There's a valve I just installed. There's still more to go. The valve springs for number 2 and 3 cylinders are all in, all the Kigglys. And right now I just rotated the engine so number 1 and number 4 piston can be at the bottom dead center. And now I'm going to change these 4 here and these 4 here. I don't know if the camera will focus on the damage. No, it won't. It's too shiny. Here's the lifters and the rockers installed. These are Evo rockers, by the way. I cleaned and bled the lifters already. These are all squishy. Now I'm going to set the camshafts. Camshafts are not installed. Those caps are torqued to 15 foot-pounds. And now I'm gonna prime the oil pump. The car is now back together, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to pull the exhaust manifold off because I broke a exhaust manifold stud. If you see that one looks, it's actually loose. Well, you can see it moving. But I know that when I tighten it up, it's probably going to snap off like the other one. Or if I try to break it loose, bam, there it is. It just broke. So, luckily I have a replacement. So I'm going to have to pull this off. So I got the exhaust manifold and the turbo out. Luckily I can get this with it's actually coming out with the channel locks. Those right there. Here's the turbo setup. I actually found a loose bolt here. Must have rattled loose, so I'm going to have to put some Loctite on this. Turbo's back in the car. I did end up replacing three exhaust manifold studs. So, time to start this thing. I'm gonna take this thing for a ride. I was actually driving there earlier. Need some fuel too. Car is back in the garage. I just did 3 pulls with it. I'm gonna change the oil and check all my fluids. I got import face-off coming up this Sunday, so that'll be fun. Hopefully I hit and get into the 10s with this thing, now that I'm revving a little higher with the Kiggly Racing valve springs. So it should be fun.